Now, here's the big question. A lot of people have been talking about lately the whole DACA, the wall. This is going to keep going. And then Mitch McConnell also promised an immigration reform bill. That's also going to be a big deal. There's going to be an election in November, so each side, and not just the two parties, but within that, each certain caucuses, certain individuals and leaders have their own ambition, and it's going to be very complicated. But why? If the Democrats, if Trump is willing to give them DACA in exchange for the wall, doesn't mean that, and they refuse that and they want to shut down the government. Doesn't that mean that they're the ones who are being inhumane towards those children? Because, no, really, because if you think about it, Trump is saying, let's do that, but also let's do border security. That's something that benefits, the undocumented immigrants who came here as children, gives them human rights. At the same time, it ensures that there's national security, no issues like this going forward. You guys
It's incredible how adept the left is at framing things. Because what conservatives are asking for, just border security. That is the most basic thing. Like, in order to have a country, you have to have borders, and they're against it. It's like, how do you get elected when that's your policy? But it's all how they've framed it. Whereas the compassionate thing to have this borderless society where everybody has everything, and even though we're $21 trillion in debt, it doesn't really seem to cross their mind. Back to what you were talking about there, though. It's crazy how the just the perspective on things has moved. I look at how Trump treated Marco Rubio in the election, and he was so hard on him and just completely destroyed the man because of little Marco, because of his, where's my bottle of water, because of his position on immigration. And basically Rubio's position on immigration was, it depends on who you talk to, but more hard line than what Trump is talking about now with, just give us border security and you can have DACA. I mean, it seems placating. It doesn't really seem like he's standing on what he ran on, in my opinion.
That's an interesting point. He was hard on Rand Paul, too, but they also seem to be working pretty well together.
It's true.
And I think there's some dialogue between Rubio and Trump also. So, the knock-down, drag-out business of a primary campaign versus the functioning of government, I think Trump has kind of bridged that gap a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was not nice to those guys. He was particularly hard to Rand Paul, too. I like Rand Paul. But Rand Paul wasn't going to win the nomination with 1% of the vote, and so he makes a good point. Getting back to this budget thing, which was really the gist of your question, I think what Trump is doing is says, listen, they're either going to have to go home or they're going to have to become citizens, but they cannot be a special class of citizens living here for the next 30 years. We need to resolve this. And so maybe they can't get to a political solution now by hanging a spotlight on it and driving that issue. I think Trump is really, I think he's framing the argument. Now, you're right, we're always going to be dealing with this funding because it's like Brady said, is that until we get this debt under control, we're always going to be facing those debt limits. And the immigration issue is a separate issue that's going to be handled separately otherwise.
Yeah.
So,
I love, too, how they're like, we need to take action on DACA, and the name is deferred action. So they want to take action on not taking action. I'm really trying to wrap my head around that one.
Yeah, they want amnesty. They don't want to call it amnesty. Now, whether Trump will trade amnesty, these people need to be out of the shadows. They need to be on they need to be taxed like everybody else. When if they're working, they need to support the government just like the rest of us, or there need to be a path for them to leave. It's either plan to stay, plan to become a citizen, plan to go home. Do not plan to live in the shadows for 30 years living off the taxpayers. And I think Trump is right to focus the issue, but it's wrong to focus it during a budget because we have all the rest of there's 40 million people living here, and we're going to worry about what, 800,000 people?
Right.
It's a problem. We want it solved, but you have a nation to run.